Is there an afterlife?
Oh, I can answer this one. No, not for you lot anyway. There's an afterlife, but it's for me. And it's a bit like an after party. And what I mean by that is I will be getting drunk forever. But yeah, no, Human's afterlife probably doesn't real, because there's no evidence, boys, for one. Sorry, not sorry. Video over, right?
Life after this life ends?
Oh, he's not stopping. Never mind. Yes, that's what an afterlife means, Dennis. I think anybody with a brain who's ending up on this video knows what that is. I mean, you'd have to be really, really stupid to need you to explain it. Oh wait, this is Prager and your fans. Well, I'm sure they have brains, but I don't think they're very good ones.
There probably isn't a human being who hasn't asked this question at one time or another.
Then you don't know very much about statistics, Dennis. There almost certainly is someone who has gone through life either not encountering the concept and or peoples who just don't give a f*** on the face of it because they found the very notion patently absurd and it didn't even merit thinking about. Also, you have babies and children and whatever else, unless you don't count them as human beings, when that's fair. Humans only begin to suck when they reach about teenage, so yeah.
And here's the answer.
Wow, that's fast to actually getting to an answer to one of these life big questions. And we are like barely into the video. That's an impressive speed in order to do that. Now, some might say that's because he hasn't really thought about this, and his answer will be both vague and oversimplified. But that's not fair. You know, just probably true.
If there is a God, there is an afterlife.
What? Holy shit, there is a lot to unpack there. First off, that's not really an answer, that's a what if that doesn't really say anything. Secondly, no, even if there is a God and somehow we can know that in no way posits that there is definitely an afterlife. First of all, plenty of religions have gods and no afterlife, and even some that do, it's only an afterlife for certain peoples, usually because only royalty are actually worthy or some shit. So does that really count? But even beyond written religions, the concept that a god of any of the types that have been thought up needs to make an afterlife is ridiculous, because they're God. They can do whatever they want, including not that. Or existing.
It's that simple. And here's why.
Is it because you're simple? Because again, that's not an answer because it involves, proving God does the real. And I don't know if you know this, but you can't. I mean, maybe someone could. But you ain't the guy, Denny, because as I said, you are very simple.
First, this life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
Don't get me started. I mean, there's just so much. Sometimes I find it hard to bear. Like, sometimes my phone almost runs out of battery, or I can't buy my tempura-wrapped fried prawns and have to go with phyllo instead. I know my suffering is immeasurable, but the worst one, and warning, this is going to get pretty harrowing, I had to stand up and walk across the room to get more whiskey.
The only way there can be some ultimate justice for victims of evil is if there is an afterlife.
And there I was thinking the ultimate justice for victims of evil would be if God decided to not invent evil and inflict it upon the world like the giant arsehole he is. But the actual just is to go spend even more time with the guy who is literally responsible, under your idea, for every moment of pain they have ever experienced in their life. Wonderful.
And the only way comfort is available to those who suffer unjustly.
That's fucking stupid. You mean to tell me that God, in his infinite wisdom and apparently goodness, made it so that someone who suffers any injustice will be unable to get comfort until they die, but they can't end it themselves because that would be a sin. So they will have to continue suffering for as long as their body holds out. I mean, if you want to talk about injustice, that sounds pretty fucking unjustifiable to me, mate. Damn.
From painful disease and premature death to the death of a child, as if there is an afterlife.
Okay, let's be serious here. That's simply not true. I mean, okay, the dying one is pretty unfixable, but people do find comfort without, needing to die. And to suggest that they can't is so stupid, it's bordering on brain damage inducing. The idea that no one has ever gotten over terrible tragedy in their life is so ridiculous it could only be said by Dennis Prager in his big grown-up serious voice.
But such an afterlife exists only if there is a good and just God.
Again. No. In fact, your description of how it works sounds to me like the work of an unjust God that forces people to suffer in his little sandbox, but it's okay when you die a horrible, painful, brutal death at my hands. As long as you still like me after that, I will put you in the safety pit forever. It's just you'll have to watch me do the same shit to your children and grandchildren, or even just your fellow humans, etc. forever. But that's okay, and certainly wouldn't be just a different kind of torture, because reasons.
A good and just God provides a way to compensate for all the unjust suffering in this world.
That cough cough he caused cough cough cough. What's that? God doesn't make suffering in the world. He just, according to you, made the world, made the ability for suffering to happen, and then let it happen. That's not the same as being completely and totally responsible for it. Just completely and totally responsible for it, with extra steps, like any good tyrant will do. Because getting blood on your own hands is just so messy when you have people to do it for you.
Second, since God is not physical, the physical world is not the only reality. There is also a non-physical reality.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you got to keep making these claims that require God to be real and state them as facts. And let's make one thing clear about all the non-physical things that we know to exist. Generally speaking, they are ideas, and ideas aren't necessarily true. Ergo, God is not necessarily true, so maybe stop making absolute claims about something which has every likelihood of not reeling, for fuck's sake.
And we humans have a part of us which, being non-physical, survives the death of our body. We call it the soul.
How many times am I going to have to explain that even if we grant X, that does not necessitate Y? In this case, even if there's a God who exists and is non-physical boy in a non-physical world, that doesn't mean that humans, the physical beings that they are, for some reason have a chunk of non-physical attached to them somewhere, and that hypothetical non-physical thing has anything to do with the physical part. You're just saying things as facts with no justification for doing so, and frankly, it's almost as annoying as your face.
But if there is no God, this physical life is all there is.
Oh, god damn it, look at that guy, as if it's a bad thing. A famous phrase, and a kick-ass song too, is "Who wants to live forever?" I believe it's supposed to point out that being immortal in any context is not a good thing. Because, you know, the human compunction toward getting really fucking bored makes the idea absolutely terrifying to anyone with an intellect above that of some kind of liquefied stoat. Explains why you're so into the concept.
So, no God, no soul, no afterlife.
All of those things are probably true. But even so, individuals of those things could be without the others. I know, I keep repeating myself, but how do you teach an animal new tricks? Through repetition. And Dennis is nothing if not a performing monkey content to survive off of the laughter and applause of total idiots.
Now, of course, those who doubt God's existence have every reason to doubt an afterlife.
Really? You don't say, Captain Dipshit. And there I was thinking that those who don't believe God does the real were far more inclined to believe in asinine bullshit with nothing backing it up. You do surprise me with this new piece of information.
But
hey, my opinion of you summed up in a single word. Excellent.
If you believe in a good God, then you have to believe there's an afterlife.
I'm pretty sure no one does have to think that, not only because of aforementioned everything else, but also because people don't have to follow any kind of reasoning of another person, whether it be incredibly flawed and stupid and smells bad, or it be logical and smart and smells of scotch. No one has to think like you or anyone else. That's not how braining works, goddammit.
If you say you believe in God but not in an afterlife, the God you believe in is not only not good,
subjective. I mean, you have been banging on about an afterlife as if that would automatically be a good afterlife. One that not just someone could enjoy, but one that everyone would enjoy. And that's fucking unlikely. But further still, who says it's even trying to be that if it exists? Hell is still an afterlife, and maybe that exists and is the only one. Only a good God wouldn't allow that afterlife to happen, would they? I mean, a good God wouldn't allow any kind of hell at all, but it's still a very popular idea, with a lot of very silly people who haven't thought about that for some reason.
That God is cruel. That God made a world filled with unjust suffering, and just left it at that.
Okay, not gonna lie, that screeny is fucking hilarious in its out-of-contextness. But you just kind of shot yourself in the foot. A good God created a world filled with unjust suffering? Are you fucking kidding me right now? How the hell do you square those two ideas with each other without your brain suddenly pouring out of your nose like you're laughing with a mouthful of milk? Those two things are completely incompatible. Also, any god didn't necessarily make any world at all for the bazillionth time. Even if X doesn't mean Y, you freaking doof. A god that exists doesn't have to have created anything. They could be unrelated things. Seriously, have you considered any of the things you believe at all for even a millisecond? Because I don't think you have.
Now, some people who don't believe in an afterlife offer their own version of immortality.
Ah yes, the one true form of immortality, the only one that will ever matter. Being handsome, famous, and good at the sex. That is the immortality no one will ever hope to best, because it's mine, and I was already immortal. And that just makes me double immortal for some reason. Don't even need it.
I once attended a funeral where the man officiating said,
"Hey, is that Dennis Prager? Who let him out of his little blue cage? Someone call the police before he hurts someone's brain by spouting pseudo-intellectual garbage about the existence of God at them." And then everybody clapped, including the dead guy, because it was just too true.
"While there is no afterlife, we do live on, through our good works and in the memories of loved ones."
What? Who the f*** talks like that? I mean, I've only ever heard a religious boy make definitive statements on the existence of things like that. And the term good works? Pretty sure that's also a religious phrase. So I can only think that, in fact, no one said this and you made it up. Because you don't actually know any people and you have no idea how they talk. And only apply your religious thinking to the way they would act because you am so smart.
That's what a lot of people who reject an afterlife want to believe.
I don't think you are the person to tell others what they want to believe. And if someone does believe that, then they believe it, no want about it. Because that's not how belief works. A lot of people want to believe in a nice, lovely afterlife, but they do believe that that's probably not true. Christ, Dennis, I will never ever get over just how bad you are at this.
But the idea that human beings live on through their good works or through the memories of loved ones, which generally means a person's children or grandchildren,
well, obviously, that's going to be silly, because Dennis doesn't like it, and as we all know, he is the person with all of the correct opinions that aren't extremely silly or have aged incredibly poorly. So if he doesn't like an idea, it's automatically wrong, even if it does make way more sense than anything he actually thinks is good or smart.
is simply meaningless.
Oh look, the pot calling the kettle melted to fucking oblivion because it's so goddamn charred. People living on through others' memory is not meaningless, it's literally the only way anyone is going to continue to exist for any amount of time beyond their death. I tell you what is meaningless, telling people that when they die they go to a land of infinite happiness where everyone gets a castle and unlimited puppies. I mean, that's just fucking stupid. How am I going to eat all of those puppies, eh? Think about it, for Christ's sake.
If people live on through their good works, then children who die don't live on.
God damn it, Dennis, way to miss the forest for the trees. I mean, good works is not how anyone who doesn't believe the things you believe would ever put it, ever. They would say the impact they had on people's lives. Children have a massive impact on friends and loved ones' lives. Their good works is that humans tend to feel great attachment to them. I mean, you said it yourself at the start. The loss of a child can absolutely cause a parent a huge amount of grief because of the loss of the person that was and who they could be. It astounds me how you will fail to grasp even the simplest of concepts you attempt to refute. Fuck me.
The number of good works most children are even capable of is minuscule.
Jesus, the way you said that made it hilarious. Because, well, you think that's a silly thing to say, because it is, but only you are saying it, Dennis. Anyway, still less minuscule than the good works you produce. At least they aren't sucking value out of the universe with each and every breath, mate.
As for babies who die, well, babies can't engage in good works at all, so I guess they just don't live on.
Idiot! The exact same thing I said before applies. Stop being so fucking stupid.
Anyway, the truth is that bad works usually live on longer than nearly any good works.
Dennis Prager, ensuring his immortality in every conceivable way, no matter how ironic that method may be.
In fact, if works make us immortal, Hitler, with all the evil he did, is far more immortal than the kindest people on earth.
Well, you must be right, because you brought up Hitler. Everyone knows that just saying the word Hitler is basically an automatic win on the internet, but I've preempted you on this. You see, I have 2 Hitlers in my video, therefore I win. Take that.
As for living on in the memories of our children, what do we say to those who have no children? Sorry, you don't live on.
You know people know more people than just their children, right? Although this is probably just Dennis again talking from his extremely limited life experience. I mean, I suppose no one else would ever talk to you, would they? How he even has kids is a fucking mystery at this point. Probably immaculate conception and a very, very messy birth.
Moreover, living on in anyone's memory, as beautiful as that is not the same as immortality or an afterlife.
No, one of them is real and is a thing that happens and can be demonstrated, and the other is the afterlife. And no one is saying they are actually the same. You're just too much of a moron to understand that other people, figured stuff out, probably way before you ever did to boot.
As Woody Allen put it, I don't want to achieve immortality through my work. I want to achieve it through not dying.
That's what we call a joke, dipshit. Like your university, everything you say, and you.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstar Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the